Hello, I'm James McKenna. This is my Assignment 3 Cognitive Science video. I've chosen to go over the interleaving effect, and I will be citing the article, The Interleaving Effect, Mixing It Up Boosts Learning by Stephen C. Pan. I first learned about the interleaving effect while I was doing this assignment, albeit I believe I already use it in my own classroom. The article describes the interleaving effect as being different from the traditional block learning method in which students learn one subject at a time, as being an alternative in which you learn multiple subjects at the same time. It uses the example of a tennis player who would, in block learning, learn to master their forehand serve before moving on to learning their backhand serve, and in interleaving would instead learn their forehand, backhand, and volley serve all at the same time. In particular, it cites better outcomes when using the interleaving method when studying mathematics. In a study done involving middle school students studying algebra and geometry, it indicated that using the interleaving method, they received 25% higher than average test scores immediately after finishing the module, and then 3 months after the module had completed, they received 75% higher test scores on retesting. This is actually very interesting to me because one of the problems I've noticed with the course I teach is that students often struggle to remember the earlier material by the time they get to the end of the course. It is 15 weeks long, and the earlier material involves a lot of mathematics, and it actually moves away from mathematics as it goes on. As a result, I've learned to incorporate the earlier material involved in mathematics into material being presented in the later material. For instance, when I teach electrical fundamentals, it's just math all day long. Circuit analysis involves a lot of algebra and formulae and critical thinking and analysis skills. When you get to magnetism, it still involves some of those things, but there's also a lot of rote memorization, trying to remember what magnetic flux is and magnetic flux density. I instead then introduce the ideas of electricity back into magnetism by presenting an electrical problem, which first must be solved with DC analysis, and then can be looked at in the light of magnetism to see how much magnetism that electricity might cause. When I go and teach about generators and motors, most of those are about terminology and knowing how a generator works, as opposed to there being any mathematics skill involved. So I go back to magnetism and bring up magnetic problems when I teach those subjects, which can then go back to electrical. I've noticed by this interleaving of old subjects to new subjects, I'm able to really enhance students' understanding and then make them much more confident about the older material when they take the final. In addition to which, it does seem to increase test scores a little bit. The particular effect, however, I'm trying to pull off is long-term retention. Students in an apprenticeship will go to a year of school and then go to work in the field for a year to get further education in industry. They will then return to school. Students often struggle when they come back from working in the field because they haven't been utilizing the information. So retention is very important when teaching electrical fundamentals. The article does seem to be credible. The author is a doctor who works at the UCLA. He has many published articles. The article is from 2015. It is a little old, and he does acknowledge that at the time there wasn't a lot of research done on interleaving. I'm very interested to see what other articles are out there right now. The article has many references, which all seem to be critical articles or texts in and of themselves. The article does promote interleaving quite heavily and doesn't criticize or acknowledge criticism of it. I will have to research that more in the future. I hope you have a nice day. This was my Assignment 3.